Well, you kept working with big artists, and at one point you actually worked with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, man, that was pretty incredible.
Okay.
Because it was
Were you in the studio with Michael working on him, or was it kind of remote?
it was first time I went. It was me and Bruce Woodine, his engineers, and I would never really see Michael. And then I was just like, you know what? I don't really want to do this either. It's like I felt like there was a lot of shystiness going on, and so I went back home, and I get a call from Michael, and he's like, Dallas, what happened? Why did you leave? And I was like, man, I wasn't really feeling it. I was like, oh no, come back. I want you to work at the studio with me. Just come to my studio because I felt like Bruce and them was doing a lot of like little sideline stuff that I didn't want to be a part of. And so I went back to the studio to work with him. And I walk in and I see Jimmy Jam, and I'm like, oh my God, Jimmy Jam, man, you're my favorite producer in the world. I came up on all your stuff. And he had to be like, oh yeah, this is Michael. I'm like, hey Michael, how you doing, man? Oh my God, Jimmy Jam. So I think that Michael didn't feel enough, like, love. So he brought us to this room and where he keeps all, when you work in the studio for months, you keep all your stuff in this lounge or whatever. And he just started putting in these tapes, man, of like 300,000 people screaming Michael in Africa outside of a venue. Him and Charlie Chaplin dancing. This another one, Michael. So I started getting like, oh shit, that is this guy, I started getting really intimidated and really scared at that point. And it's kind of like a hype reel in a sense. And as we started working, then, he sent us to the Museum of Tolerance. I don't know if you ever seen that in LA, but you walk to this museum and it calls you names. It, kike me and all that stuff. All this stuff all this stuff on this history album kind of came from this Museum of Tolerance in LA. And you go in there and it shows you what happened to different races at different times. Like the spraying black kids down in Atlanta, they're killing Cambodian kids over here, and then the last thing in there is the Holocaust. And you walk through a gas chamber, and so people are crying when you leave out of there because it's really heavy and stuff. So I get back and I'm like, why did you send us there? He was like, because that's the emotion I want in this album, in this record. And I didn't realize that and he was saying, it's kind of him against the United States, like when he went to where they were looking for him everywhere and the plane was landing in different places. And Michael's getting off here and the plane's taking back off, And he's like, Dallas, I was sitting in Moscow watching myself land in different places on TV because the United States is looking for me everywhere. And the Russian government basically hit him. And he wrote Stranger in Moscow in this hotel room while he's watching himself on TV. Like, oh, the KGB is after me. And I was thinking, hey, man, how much power do you have where the Russian government takes you and hides you? And then he did, I don't know if you remember the History album cover, but he had the whole Brazilian army. And they imitated the Hitler video all the way down to the T, where, the little dog is running and they got the soldiers marching, and it's going by pole to pole, and then the flags drop down, and it was his take, like this is me against the United States in a way. And that started to come out. Because, for one, he imitated the Hitler film, and it was if you ever seen it, it's an obvious imitation of that. And then you had Tommy Mottola and all them going to play at Sony, and it just turned into like a mess. And by the time they combined that video with the word "kike me" and "They Don't Care About Us," they took all the records off the shelf.
Well, right. Well, because you produced "They Don't Care About Us."
Yeah, and they took all of. I was like, how are you going to take the records off the actual shelf because there's record stores then, but they put a cease on the project because they said "Kike Me" was coming out talking about Jewish people.
Right. Well, the lyric is "Jew me, sue me,
Yep.
everybody do me, kick me, kike me, don't you black or white me."
Yep.
And I remember Michael actually had to apologize.
It's not anti-Semitic because I'm not a racist person. I could never be a racist. I love all races of people, from Arabs to Jewish people, like I said before, to blacks. But when I say Jew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kike me, don't you black or white me, I'm talking about myself as the victim. My accountants and lawyers are Jewish. My three best friends are Jewish. David Geffen, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Steven Spielberg, Mike Milken. These are friends of mine. They're all Jewish. So how does that make sense? I was raised in a Jewish community.
The stereotypical, musician answer.
But Tommy and them flipped it on him. The label kind of flipped it because he was having it was at this thing where he was going back and forth with them, and it was great at first. You look at Scream and how it first kicked off with Scream and him and Janet in a $7 million video, and And then between there and the next one, it just went chaotic, and and it turned into a beef between him and the label. Then the label started saying, "Okay, you got all this Hitler stuff going on. You're going against Jews," and it turned into a little bit of a mess on him.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, when you produced that record and you heard that lyric, what did you think?
I just thought it was, like I took the face value that everybody would take when they hear it. It's like anything else. If you zero in on it and flip the issue, then it could say that. But really, he was kind of say, don't black and white me, Jew me. He's trying to use all these things. I got it that way. It would have stayed the way that people took it in the first place. But it turned into a real battle. It turned into a real battle between him and the label, him and the United States, just him against the world. And while we were working at the studio, he took a satellite and broadcasted himself from Neverland because he said that people would, if he went on any news station, they would alter his words, and So I was just like, this dude is another kind of powerful, and he would be like, Dallas, I have relationships with countries that the United States don't have, and they don't like that. I can go into any country right now and be, more important than anybody there, and they don't like it. So it started to turn on me, and I started to see him like we're at the studio, and he goes, "Let me show you this newspaper article." It says, Michael Jackson thinks Africa stinks, and he has his hand over his nose like this. And he goes, I went over there and I just built all these hospitals and I did all this stuff over there in the United States. See what they say, see what they say. And we were sitting in the studio, man, and 2 days later, I swear to God, this was like Coming to America. Like they came in, rose petals were thrown on the floor, right? And all of a sudden, this king and queen of Africa walk in, lion heads, gold, all kinds of stuff. And we all sitting in there like, wow, what is going on? And they're like, Michael, we just want to come and thank you for everything you've done for us. The hospitals you built, the this, that, and the other. And I'm like, this dude is another story. Like, I've never... I've been around a lot of artists, but that kind of power, that the whole world, like you have a big influence on the whole world, and any president of any country or anything like that is, you can feel it when you around working with him in the sessions and stuff. And Michael would go in and he would beatbox first, like, so Dallas, I want something like this, and then you kind of work around it.